Winter on the Dalton Highway does not look like a movie. There are no dramatic explosions, no heroic music, just a vast white silence and the cold. At minus 38 degrees Celsius, the air changes. It becomes heavy. It hurts to breathe. For an American viewer, this temperature is almost abstract. It is minus 36.4 degrees Fahrenheit. At this threshold, exposed skin freezes in under 10 minutes. Steel becomes brittle. Rubber breaks like glass. Yet right now, hundreds of long-haul truckers are pulling over for the night. They are parking in remote turnouts, no cell service, no passing traffic, just a thin sheet of metal separating a sleeping human from lethal exposure. The public assumes these drivers sleep in a running truck, warm and isolated. That is a myth. Keeping a 15-liter diesel engine idling all night at these temperatures is risky. It creates wet nesting. Unburnt fuel builds up in the exhaust system. It destroys the engine. So they turn the main engine off. The moment that key turns, a silent, invisible countdown begins. The cab of a modern semi-truck is essentially a box of fiberglass, aluminum, and glass. None of these materials hold heat. The breakdown happens fast. It follows a predictable, brutal timeline. Minute 1. The engine stops humming. The sudden silence is heavy. The air inside the cabin is still warm, hovering around 21 degrees Celsius. Minute 15. The temperature drops rapidly. The massive windshield acts like a massive block of ice. It sucks the ambient heat right out of the air. The dashboard plastic grows cold to the touch. The air temperature falls to 5 degrees Celsius. The driver can see their breath. Minute 30. The cold penetrates the sleeper berth. The aluminum walls frame the bed. They are now radiating frost. The air inside hits 0 degrees Celsius. Water bottles left in the cup holders begin to slush. Minute 45. The internal temperature sinks to minus 15 degrees Celsius. The moisture from the driver's previous breaths condenses on the inside of the windows. It turns instantly into a thick layer of ice. Minute 60. The cabin has reached equilibrium with the outside world. It is minus 38 degrees inside. Anything liquid is solid. The mattress is stiff. Without an active heat source, a human sleeping here will enter stage 1 hypothermia within 2 hours. Core body temperature drops. Violent shivering begins. The danger is not just human, it is mechanical. The truck itself faces a structural threat. It is called diesel gelling. Standard winter diesel contains paraffin wax. This wax is normally liquid. It helps lubricate the fuel system. But diesel has a tipping point. It is called the cloud point. For winter blend fuel, this usually starts around minus 10 degrees Celsius. Crystals form. As the temperature plunges toward minus 38, the fuel reaches its pour point. The wax separates completely from the liquid petroleum. It turns into a thick, milky sludge. It looks like petroleum jelly. This sludge flows into the fuel lines. It hits the fuel filter. The microscopic pores of the filter plug up instantly. The fuel stops moving. A gelled truck cannot simply be restarted. Turning the key does nothing. The starter motor whines. The engine starves. To fix a gelled truck, a driver cannot use a jumper cable or a can of starting fluid. They need heat. They must wrap the entire bottom of the truck in heavy canvas tarps. They must place portable propane heaters underneath to thaw the fuel tank's lines and filters. This process takes hours. In a blizzard, doing this work outside is a death sentence. To prevent this mechanical gridlock, Canadian truckers rely on small specialized technology. The primary defense is a shoebox-sized device. It is called a bunk heater. Brands like Webasto and Aspar manufacture them. They are completely independent of the main truck engine. The heater sits inside a side compartment under the bunk. It operates on a simple principle. A ceramic glow plug ignites a tiny combustion chamber. A small pump draws diesel directly from the truck's main fuel tank. The fuel consumption is remarkably low. It uses roughly 0.2 liters of diesel per hour. That is about a cup of fuel. An electric fan blows air across the outside of this sealed combustion chamber. The hot air enters the sleeper berth. The toxic exhaust gases are vented safely outside through a small pipe under the cab. This tiny unit can maintain a stable 22 degrees Celsius inside the cabin while the outside world is frozen solid. However, the bunk heater has a vulnerability. It runs on electricity. The fan and the fuel pump draw power from the truck's auxiliary batteries. At minus 38 degrees, battery chemistry fails. Standard lead-acid batteries lose 50% of their cranking capacity at freezing. At minus 38, their efficiency drops by over 70%. The internal chemical reactions slow down to a crawl. If the bunk heater runs continuously for 8 hours, it can drain the weakened batteries. If the batteries die, the heater stops. The timeline of cabin freezing resets. To solve the battery crisis, drivers use an auxiliary power unit. This is an APU. It is a small 1 or 2-cylinder diesel engine mounted externally on the truck frame. It acts as a personal power plant. The APU runs its own alternator. It constantly monitors the truck's main battery voltage. When the voltage drops below a specific threshold, the APU starts automatically. It charges the batteries. It keeps the bunk heater alive. Some APUs also pump warm coolant through the truck's main engine block. This keeps the massive 15-liter engine warm, preventing the oil from turning into thick sludge. The APU is the true lifeline. When both systems fail, the situation becomes an emergency. This is where the psychological trap springs. The human brain does not function well under extreme cold. As the cabin temperature plungeth, cognitive decline begins. A driver wakes up shivering. The truck will not start. The heater is dead. The silence is terrifying. The driver knows there is a truck stop or a roadhouse 20 miles down the highway. The temptation to open the door and walk is immense. It feels like taking control. It is usually a fatal mistake. Walking into a -38-degree night with any wind is an immediate physical assault. The wind chill factor can easily push the effective temperature below -50. At this level, deep tissue freezing occurs in less than 2 minutes. The wind drives snow into the eyes, causing temporary blindness. The landscape lacks landmarks. Whiteout conditions eliminate the horizon. The driver loses the road within 100 yards. Hypothermia alters perception. As the core temperature drops to 32 degrees Celsius, the brain ceases to logical think. Vasoconstriction occurs. The body pulls all warm blood away from the extremities to protect the internal organs. The hands and feet go numb. Then a phenomenon called paradoxical undressing occurs. The brain misinterprets the extreme cold as a burning sensation of heat. The freezing victim begins tearing off their heavy jacket, boots, and gloves. They lie down in the snow. They do not get up. Survival in the north dictates one absolute rule: you stay with the vehicle. The truck is a massive, highly visible marker for search and rescue teams. It protects against the wind. It contains insulation. Leaving the cab means trading a compromised shelter for certain destruction. Surviving the night when the technology fails requires a specific physical inventory. Experienced northern drivers carry a survival ledger. This gear is not for comfort. It is for preservation. First is the sleeping bag. This is not a camping bag from a department store. It is a military-grade expedition-rated canvas system. It is rated for -45 degrees Celsius. It uses specialized synthetic insulation that does not collapse under body moisture. Second is marine-grade wool clothing. Synthetic fleece melts under friction. Cotton retains water and freezes. Wool is different. It traps air even when damp. A driver will layer wool thermal underwear, wool trousers, and a heavy wool shirt before climbing into the bag. Third is a mechanical backup heat source. This is usually a portable propane heater, like a Mr. Heater Buddy. It does not require electricity. It runs on small propane canisters. It provides radiant heat. However, using propane inside a sealed cab introduces a secondary killer. Carbon monoxide. The gas is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. It replaces oxygen in the bloodstream. The driver goes to sleep and never wakes up. To use a propane heater safely, the driver must follow a strict ventilation protocol. They must crack the side windows exactly 1/4 of an inch. This creates a cross flow of fresh air. It lets the carbon monoxide escape. It also prevents moisture buildup. It sacrifices some heat, but it keeps the air breathable. The final item is food. Survival requires calories. The body burns massive energy simply trying to generate heat through shivering. Drivers pack high-fat, high-protein foods. Peanut butter, heavy lard biscuits, pemmican. They eat before sleeping. The digestive tract working through heavy fats acts like an internal furnace, raising the basal metabolic rate. The sun rises late in the Canadian winter. When it does, it offers no warmth. It is just a pale yellow disk low on the horizon. The driver who prepared correctly wakes up. They check their systems. They survive not because they fought the cold, but because they respected it. -38 degrees does not negotiate. It does not care about schedules or deadlines. It simply waits for a mistake. Every year, new drivers head north. They are lured by high ice road paychecks. Some view the cold as an inconvenience. They are the ones who end up in the statistics. The veterans know better. They know that survival is a series of small, disciplined choices made before the trip even begins. If you were preparing a vehicle for a sub-zero long-haul run, what is the one item you would absolutely refuse to leave behind? Drop your checklist in the comments below.